My tale may seem commonplace to many, I understand, but for me, it is an unprecedented experience. At the ripe age of 28, I tied the knot just a year ago. Everything unfolded as one might expect, complete with solemn pledges of unwavering loyalty and all the other trappings of matrimony, professing our undying love until the grave. In all honesty, I devoted as much attention to her as I possibly could. I diligently carried out my manly responsibilities and nurtured our family. Flowers were a frequent gesture of my affection. While I may not have been flawless, I made a sincere effort. Juggling 2 jobs left me drained, but the funds were necessary for the medical treatment of her relatives, and I naturally assumed the role of the primary financial contributor. Additionally, we required medications and other sundry items. The total sum was substantial, compelling me to toil tirelessly. Despite the challenges, our intimate moments were relatively frequent. I engaged in heartfelt conversations, showered her with attention, and did everything within my power to sustain our bond. She also held a part-time job, but last month, she started requesting money from me for an undisclosed purpose. Curiosity piqued, I resolved to uncover the truth behind her actions. I discreetly followed her, only to discover that she was squandering our hard-earned money on another man. Naturally, I seized the opportunity to catch them in the act. As I barged in, he hastily gathered his belongings and fled. I only caught a fleeting glimpse of him. She looked at me, batting her eyes innocently, and had the audacity to claim that it was entirely my fault for not lavishing enough attention on her celestial beauty. She refused to acknowledge any culpability on her part. Without hesitation, I promptly expelled her from our home. She attempted to reach out, offering insincere apologies while still insisting that I was to blame. The emotional toll on me is immense. Divorce is an inevitable outcome, that much is certain. However, I am grappling with a profound sense of betrayal, as if someone has spat directly into the very depths of my soul. I am at a loss to comprehend where I went wrong. By all accounts, our intimate life seems satisfactory. I am a man of normal attributes. Affection and care were abundant. I toiled diligently to provide for us financially. Most crucially, if my attention was sometimes lacking, it was all for her benefit, to ensure the well-being of her cherished family members. How did I err? The fact that she strayed so early in our marriage, a mere year in, and even siphoned funds to support her paramour, is utterly reprehensible. The most egregious aspect is that I am seemingly undeserving of a simple, genuine apology. It's evident that apologies won't undo the damage, but they might provide a modicum of solace. Not only was I betrayed, but I'm also being held accountable for her actions. I'm not seeking sympathy or necessarily advice here. You see, I have a general sense of what needs to be done, but I felt compelled to unburden myself. I have discussed this predicament with my male companions, and 3 key points emerged from our conversations. If she is, to put it delicately, prone to promiscuity, then any attempts to reform her will be futile. I must either accept the betrayal or reject it outright. If her love for me has waned, then alas, it's best not to prolong the suffering. If there was indeed something lacking in our relationship, then I must draw the necessary conclusions, provide what was missing, and move on. Allow me to address each point in your presence. First and foremost, it's crucial to understand the depth of my love for her. It is all-consuming, bordering on madness. Perhaps that is why I failed to detect certain telltale signs in her behavior. Now let me proceed in order. Regarding the first point, I am at a loss for how to respond appropriately. I hail from a respectable family, as does she. Her parents are also upstanding individuals with whom I have a good relationship. She herself always vehemently condemned infidelity. I am at a loss for words. As for the second point, about not prolonging the suffering if her love has diminished, that doesn't seem to be the case. She persistently calls every day, professing her eternal love once more. However, her apologies ring hollow, and she continues to place the blame squarely on my shoulders. Perhaps she felt something was lacking, be it attention or intimacy. But I gave her everything I could muster. I am physically incapable of doing more. I slaved away to support her relatives, believing that my efforts were at least worthy of gratitude. Instead, I find myself reduced to a mere sponsor in every sense of the word. I provide for her, her relatives, and even, for lack of a more delicate term, the individual who exploited her. Concerning the third point, about identifying what was lacking in our relationship, I have no intention of pursuing that line of inquiry. This betrayal feels like a devastating blow below the belt, utterly undeserved. I could have easily obtained money elsewhere and lived worry-free. But knowing her situation and heeding her pleas for help, I did everything in my power to support her. And now, it seems, she found me wanting in some way. Some may find my plight amusing, but it is my truth. I had everything I desired in abundance, even if it meant sacrificing sleep, getting by on a mere 3-4 hours a night. This is an unequivocal betrayal, plain and simple. There is no justification for it. While I have never laid a hand on a woman or engaged in any form of physical aggression, I know with certainty that if she were to confront me now and reiterate that I am to blame, I would struggle to maintain my composure. I reiterate, I simply needed to unburden myself. I didn't know where else to turn. Of course, the go-to solution for a man in distress is often a trip to the bathhouse and a few beers. I don't require pity or platitudes about finding someone else. I am a grown man and will handle this with equanimity. It's just that sometimes one yearns to express oneself, that's all. The notion that I will find another partner is of little relevance to me at the moment. The crux of the matter is that if she were merely a girlfriend and not my wife, these arguments might hold some merit. But these words come from the woman I married, the one who was meant to be my life partner. In a marriage, we are supposed to care for and support each other. It appears that despite fulfilling my marital duties, I was met with betrayal in return. The specific shortcomings are irrelevant. She could have endured or communicated her dissatisfaction. After all, we are not mere animals governed by instinct. I stand firm in my conviction, especially when my actions were well-intentioned and undertaken for her benefit, as she herself initiated the request for assistance. Am I to be faulted for choosing to help? It's an absurd notion. Had I refused to help, one could argue that her infidelity stemmed from my lack of support or some other flimsy excuse. But these are all hollow justifications. She is my wife, and I am her husband. If something is amiss, it is incumbent upon her to approach me and express her concerns. Instead of gratitude and affection, I was met with this devastating blow, despite her previous pleas for me to intervene and alleviate her problems. Any man who truly loves his wife would have acted as I did. I harbor no feelings of guilt towards her. If she desires to seek fulfillment elsewhere, so be it. I have provided her with that opportunity. But engaging in such behavior while still married to me is unacceptable in my eyes. Forgiveness is possible if I genuinely felt culpable and could engage in introspection. But not in this instance. She has unequivocally placed her own interests so far above mine that there is nowhere left to go. I was under the impression that in a marriage, the needs and desires of both partners are taken into account. If that is not the case, then the very foundation of the marriage is eroded. That is all I have to say on the matter. I would be grateful if anyone could share their own experiences, as I'm certain I'm not alone in facing such a predicament.